Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I hope everyone is doing well. I know it's been a little while since I've last been live, but for those that watch, was battling the flu for a little bit, and I just decided to wait till I was fully 100% better before doing any videos. Tonight, though, it's time that we do have a very serious a conversation about what's been going on. You know, and I'm not going to focus on what we've been seeing in the media and the alternative media, because that's not where the solutions and changes need to take place. My message is pretty much out there is to the parents and families out there. You know, I grew up in the 90s. Just a Sorry about that. That dog has been full of it all day. But like I was saying, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up when we went to school. Hey, when we went to school, we had shotguns and rifles in the back of our trucks and school grounds. Never had issues. But what did we, growing up in the family, what did we have then? We had conversations at the dinner table. We had conversations at the dinner table. We talked about things. You know, Early on, I was in the Boy Scouts. Even schools. You know, around age 8, took hunting classes. What's up, brother? Took hunting classes to be able to get my hunting license, gun safety courses. I find it quite sickening every day I check the news or turn the radio on, and I'm hearing of school closings because kids are being kids making threats. You know, and all these debates that are going on. And I get it. We live in a day and age where most parents taking both of them to work. They're not there at the homes anymore. I get it. But we keep screaming change. It's time we get back, start having discussions and conversations with our kids, talking about these issues that we've seen play out. The fact is, not the gun that kills, it's the person that kills. People will kill. No matter if it's with any type of weapon. Take away the guns, they're just going to use knives. Take away the knives, they're just going to use whatever they can get their hands on, a car. It ain't that. It's a lack of communication with in the families. It's like sitting down at the dinner table, making them turn off their iPhones, iPads, and talking about these issues. Explain to them, because kids will be kids. They see that they can get their school closed. They think it's a joke. It's funny. They can get out of school. Sit down and talk to them. Talk about the importance of them, of watching what they say. Because now anything they say, yeah, gun, knife, stick, rock, it doesn't matter. If somebody wants to kill, they're going to use whatever is in front of them to do it. And that's some of the very same things we need to explain to our kids. Our kids should never, ever be used as a weapon against us, like we've seen play out in the last couple weeks. I've been fairly silent on the matter. One, because I wasn't ready to come back yet. I didn't want to be on here hacking up a lung. And I'm not going to voice my opinions and views and what I've studied and seen. Because that's for you to do your own research. I preach that over and over on this channel. Do your research. Don't take one source for granted, for credit. Research. Listen to everything. Don't come right out and say it because it broke just now. Watch, listen, learn. Study everything. Listen to all sides. These very same techniques can be used right in the home, having the discussion with our kids, showing them how to research the facts, understanding that this stuff should never happen in the schools building. I mean, everybody wanted to play the blame game. The blame game not going to get us anywhere but keep blaming somebody else for something else. I mean, if we want to play the blame game, sure, let's blame all our government for taking the families away from their kids, having to work 2 jobs to be able to support themselves. So they can't have these very conversations at the dinner table, or having time to spend with their kids, knowing what they're doing in school, knowing what's going on in their lives. And I will never blame the parents for that, because they made their task so much harder. Most parents are too scared to punish their kids when they do something wrong. Why? Oh, because the system says if you spank your kids, you go to jail. But we do have to sit and have communication. Have these discussions. It starts in the home. I mean, not every family is going to be pro-gun. I respect that. But they still need to have these discussions. When that child turns 18, they'll have to make their own choices. Because when you turn 18, you're an adult. Yes, we have Free Spirit Press News. We've had some very long discussions about this. Here, let me share my screen. And this is a discussion I think everyone needs to have. Even all you YouTube streamers out here that might catch this video. We need to quit getting caught up in the media narrative. We need to start having real discussions on change. Change doesn't start with the Congress and stuff. It starts in the home. Then from the home, we start working in our communities, addressing these issues. I live in an area where, back when Columbine happened, Montpelier School District was one of the first school districts in Ohio, and it was the people in the community that came to the school board and pushed that teachers who wanted to carry and conceal could carry and conceal in the schools. They've been having teachers carry and conceal since that event. No issues, no problems, no mass school shootings. Then from there, I went to North Central, the school I went to. Their school board passed the same thing. A few schools in Toledo passed the same thing. But yet, the ones we hear about shutting down or kids being arrested from are the ones that don't have those things. You know, The fact is, when it comes to our Second Amendment right, you know my stance. There's no giving an inch, which is why I don't support the NRA. One of the reasons I don't support the NRA, because it's got more corporate. It's become more corporate. It's all about money, not about our rights. They give inches on several things they should never give an inch on. Our freedom of speech, I will never give an inch on. I might be nice, keep my swearing and self-censor myself. Just that's me being respectful. There's a difference of being respectful and being belligerent. We have to take time and talk amongst ourselves. You know, we get caught up in the label game. Or who should we support? You know, we let politics split us and divide us. That's the problem we're seeing. We are so divided that when issues like this happen, it's easy to further divide us and pit us against each other. We are supposed to be free thinkers. We're supposed to have our own voices. You know, our children, for those that have children, I don't, but our children look to us as role models. But yeah, where is a role model? How many people, be honest with yourselves, Rob, I know you guys still sit at the dinner table and have dinner at the dinner table. How many of you guys actually still sit down at the dinner table and have dinner at the dinner table and talk? And have everybody leave their phones and iPads and whatever away when it's dinner table. It's nowadays kids eat in their rooms or in front of the TV. There's no conversation. And this is one of the biggest issues. We got to start talking to our kids. We got to let them know the truth. Because, I mean, a lot of these schools teach Common Core. They're not even taught the real history of things. So they don't know. So I don't blame the kids either. But I can't stand idly by and watch them being used. Yes, and our nieces and nephews. Idly by, used as a weapon for political gains. Now I hear people talk about grassroots movement. You know where a true grassroots movement starts right in your own home with your family, with your neighbors. There's where your true grassroots movements start. Then, with your neighbors into the community. When's the last time you've been into your child's school? See, I know when I went to school in the 90s, and I know it hasn't changed to this day, when school started at 8 o'clock, there was only 2 doors you could get into. Both those doors went by offices. You had to check in before you could roam around and wander around the school. All the other doors were closed and locked. And I know people are going to say, well, there was shootings and stuff that happened in schools in the 90s. You're right. In the big cities with the gangbangers. You never heard it about this in the rural areas, in the rural schools. Only in the big cities. Their answer then was put metal detectors up. Right. Well, not actually. There's one more to that. Not only do the schools raise our kids now, but the internet raises our kids while they're in front of their iPads. You know, in a sense, they're teaching our kids how not to think for themselves. They're taking that innocence of a child away from them. And programming them to be something that they're not meant to be. They're meant to be free thinkers and are meant to enjoy life at those ages. You know, and that's the other thing. Back when I was going to school, we had DARE officers every week in our schools. They don't even have that anymore. Why? Because they can't afford it. Imagine that. Schools can't afford, well, it's not the schools that can't afford it, it's the sheriff's departments that can no longer afford to keep the programs up. Because they won't give them funding to do that anymore. People keep saying, all right, give me a second. I gotta grab the link. Because apparently it's just not gonna be quiet in my house anyway. What the hell? All right, let me stop sharing for a second. I can access this. Hi, Pam. I mean, there's so many things that we could do to make changes, but it's got to start in the home. It's got to start addressing real issues, not the issues of we need to take everyone's guns. That's the answer. That's not the answer. The answer is maybe you need to fix it so one of our parents can spend more time with the kids in the home instead of both parents being off to work, not knowing what their kids are doing, not knowing what their kids are being taught in school. Go ahead, you can sound off now. By the way, guys, welcome Free Spirit Press News. She wants to sound off on this, and I'm going to let her have it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Free Spirit. Everybody calls me Bree. I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me to hop in here. I worked in the DARE program for 5.5 years, and one of the biggest reasons why the DARE program was so unsuccessful was simply because, and a high five to Pam, one of the biggest reasons is because the federal government cut funding as soon as they realized that the money was not there and the kids were learning too much about how easy it was to get drugs and how easy it was to identify the drugs because of the panels that they were showing up and displaying. So they very quickly learned that showing all the narcotics that they had confiscated was not the right way. And somewhere along the line, they decided that maybe going at a much more straightforward approach of preaching the dangers of how it can lead to dysfunctional reproductive dysfunction, unwanted children. They thought that might scare them away, severe mental health issues. they tried every trick in the book, including using the possibility of bringing guns into the equation. Yes, they even tried using that one as their little ace in the hole. And when it all blew up in their face and they realized that the number of drugs that they were finding on the campuses had more than quadrupled, they realized that the DARE program was a big flop in their face. Nobody won on that except the drug dealers. It's pretty pathetic when you think about it that those people that were supposed to be out there for us, when in reality they were out there against us. And they used that in many schools as a snitch program to try and get little Johnny and Janie and Jacob to snitch out their parents, was the core reason for that program. And that also backfired. And I can say that from an internal aspect of it, because I've seen it happen more than once.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that was highly sponsored in it, but I mean, at the aspect though, with that, I did see some people shy away from drugs because of that program. So there was some helpful bits about it. Did it work? No. But what did it do? It put an armed cop in the school.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I was one of those in the back. Ha, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Same here.
But I'll tell you what, Mr. Brownie, if you ever listen to this broadcast, you probably won't. I will admit I was one of those kids. You know it. I've admitted it to you before. But you also know, I want you to know, you are right, where he was right on many things, because a lot of the stuff he said and brought up, he was right. I've seen it with a bunch of people. You know, the ones that would say, "Oh, you bunch of pot smokers." The very same ones that said that were the ones doing cocaine and heroin later down the road. Yeah, I know, Big Brother is watching.
One of the biggest arguments that I hear all the time, that they always like to say that pot is the gateway drug. No, it's not. The most common drug out there is alcohol and tobacco, the legal drugs. Those are your gateway drugs, because most kids, most teenagers are robbing mommy and daddies from their cigarette packs, and they'll swipe a couple, 2, 3 cans out of a 12-pack and think they're all cool and neat and funny, but that's where it starts. And there's statistical fact that backs that up.
Shit, I remember the first time I got caught smoking a cigarette. Woohoo! But that was back when the parents could spank their kids.
Yeah, I still have scars on my backside, but that's for a more of a, I will say much more. I don't know what the age range is here, but I know on your channel, you have a much broader range of viewers than I do. And I'd like to thank Pam Zizi for subbing to my channel tonight. Thank you so much. It is, by the way. Thank you for inviting me on the panel once again.
You're always welcome. I know
Well,
people get tired of hearing me run my mouth all the time.
well, it seems like the last couple of live streams you've done, I almost feel like I'm butting in, and I also subbed you back, Pam, because you subbed me so quick. I hit you right back. I almost feel like I'm being a Budinsky. So if I get saying too much, just tell me to take my sock off and shove it in my mouth.
But it's like I said, I've heard so many me and you, we the first 3 days we sat down and dug deep into this everything, and we came up with our own opinions and stuff, but we didn't come up right out and talk about things. One of the things that me and you really noticed was within the first week, 36 kids had been arrested for either making threats or somebody heard them say they were going to be a threat. This week alone, it's like every day. This is why, I felt the urge and need to talk about this, because we got to sit down with the kids. We got to. Don't let the teachers do it. Don't let the media do it. We have to sit down, explain what's going on, explain how dangerous it is. Because you pointed out quite clearly, Bree, on the fact that these kids that have done this have ruined their lives for the rest of their lives because of the charges that's going to be against them. And we've seen 2 cases. I've seen 3 cases now since this happened where they have charged them with domestic terrorism. Kids.
Their life is over. And there was one I seen on on Twitter after I got off the phone with you. And keep in mind, I was supposed to be in bed 2 hours ago, but my phone sent a signal out that you were live, and I was like, you know what? When you go live, it's very rare as of late, because we've been burning the midnight oil till 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning for the last couple, 2, 3 weeks, talking about this, that, and everything else, and breaking stuff down left, right, and center. And we've been talking about wanting to go live about many different things, and either here or on mine, or try to somehow simulcast it. And I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but it'll happen. If I got to give you my info, or if I got to try to simul-log, and I don't think I can, but I mean, I could probably do it on my phone, I guess, maybe. But I don't know. But what may happen is that it could very well come to be that we end up doing this on a regular basis. And if he wants to put my contact information in the description box, or a direct link, he's free to do so.
Oh, I will. I just haven't. Like I said, this is the first live stream I've done in about 3 or 4 weeks. Well, since that last one we did together, it's been about 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, I'd like to touch on that just for a minute. I actually I uploaded it to my Facebook page. I actually caught a copyright strike, a soft strike about it today.
Oh?
Yeah.
Well, that same video I got on Facebook, I caught a 7-day ban. I just came off it 2 days ago.
I caught it through Facebook. And it doesn't matter to me, because you know what? The message that was talked about that night was very real and very relevant. But I will say one thing. the censorship that we are encountering pales in comparison to what was exposed in Slovenia by a very young couple.
Lost them their lives.
And this leads to that it's time for a very serious talk.
Yeah, I mean, this whole issue, these are the very same issues that we should be, our kids should be hearing as well, because here's something what I don't think a lot of people realize. When some people might come down hard on me because when I use the term that our kids are being weaponized against us, they are. Many of those kids will be 18 this year, of voting age, to be able to vote in the upcoming congressional elections that are coming up. These are our future congressmen, senators, statesmen. We need to take control of the situation, and that starts in the home, then in the community, because there's so many issues, broad censorship. You don't dare really talk about these kids, or you'll get censored, because you are, in a sense, they want to say you're talking bad about them. I'm not talking bad about them at all. I feel for them. I mean, I've been there. I remember what it was like to be a kid. I remember what it was like to cause a walkout in the school.
I remember causing a couple that.
But that was over issues of, because they wanted funding, and they were going to cut our sports and stuff, those were important issues back then for us. We didn't want our stuff cut. We didn't want our VOAG taken away. That was one of the things they were going to take away. We didn't want to lose our shop classes. And that's how far they got, to the point they were threatening to take away all that stuff. And we put our foot down. Back then, we were taught real history.
Welcome.
What, Rob?
Welcome. We are free. Welcome. I'm going to drop a link in the chat about that school shoot, or about that journalist and his fiance that was killed.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a second. I got to do an edit real quick too.
Apparently, I got to use tiny URL because I don't think I can do.
You can.
I don't think I can drop Dobbs' video in here.
You should be able to. For all you live streamers or people that do live streams, pay attention to this. I forgot to do this. Make sure you unclick this right here. Automatically block spam messages. Because if not, you'll catch chats being deleted, or links being deleted, or them not being able to access the link.
All right, folks, this is a video that Dabu7 did earlier today. And I would encourage everybody, not that I am promoting Dabu7 in any way, any shape, or any light. He is a good friend of mine. I will not hide that fact. He's helped me in many ways, but this video is something that everybody needs to see. This is what the cost of investigative journalism can lead to. So my suggestion is rip it and flip it as fast as you can. This is well worth your time.
Oh yeah, that's why we talk about censorship issues. There's something else about the ripping things. YouTube's made some changes. It might be hard to rip some videos off YouTube now.
You know how to do that?
Oh yeah. I found like 3 different other ways around it.
I use a external video camera. I use a Sony Handycam, and I put it on a actual tripod that I keep right at my desk. And I catch the entire video and audio from about 18 inches away from the screen, and I catch everything. And I just put a 200 gig card into my video camera today. So there is no more trying to use software to rip them and flip them. And there will be no more of this trying to use other software to rip them and flip them. For me, I'm moving into a different direction. Now, I'm going to ask a very stupid question to you, Drew. Right here on live Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Yeah, how's about Sons and Daughters of Liberty and FSPN becoming a collaborative unit?
I have no problem with that. I've made that clear with everybody. I mean, this channel is what it's about. We the people, for the people.
Amen to that.
I've offered anybody, Richie from Boston, and I think some of you guys know my feelings about him. He would even be welcome on here because I will not play the damn politics. I don't care what your belief is. I don't care what you. But this platform is supposed to be for free thinkers, people that have their own opinions and views. It's up to you, the viewer, to make your decision. This channel will be always open for anyone. Any religious belief, faith, any ideology, any label. Because they have that right. They are protected. You know? And a lot of people, some people think I joke. I don't joke about one thing. All you got to do is look above John Hancock's name, and you'll find my ancestor's name.
You know, I think because both of us have very small channels at the moment, I think that it just makes more sense to work together and rather than separate, and we'll get farther faster. And it'll just make things so much easier for everybody. And if we need to use uncensored topics, we can use mine. If we need to be a little bit more tame, we can come here and I'll put up a promo video on my channel to come and check out this channel as well.
No, it's not that I'm tame. By no means. All people's got to do is go watch Truth You Can't Handle the Truth video, and they'll know I'm not tame.
Well, a slightly more all you got to do is look at the day I shredded YouTube's bacon.
Yeah.
And that video actually I did delete in order to not catch 3 strikes in a day after it had been up for a year. I actually ended up deleting the video altogether without making a backup copy stupidly. Just because I didn't want the temptation. But there is still a copy floating around out there somewhere. I know there is. But you know, that's what we need. We need unity. Most importantly, we need family unity. Family means everybody that is in the chat, everybody that will hear this after the fact, and everybody that might hear this a year from now, providing we're all still around in a year. You know, the other serious talk thing that I seen, and I spent a few minutes scrolling breaking news tonight before I shut my computer down for a little bit, was I seen 52 videos of people destroying their firearms.
Oh yeah, I
Perfect.
mean, but what is that? That's just like, not to steal something from Be Rich or anything, but Be Rich made a good point about that too. It's just like what was that? The ice water bucket challenge. They just make a challenge out of it now, and the people think it's cool to show that. It's a joke. Anybody in their right mind is not going to destroy something that expensive.
Well, it's funny that you would mention that, because yesterday I went to one of my local stores. I'm not going to name names, but one of those particular weapons that we had looked at online, and I was showing you specific quoted prices with the exact sighting um, for under $7.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with a pair of 15 round clips and 2 boxes of shells. I kid you not.
You
Yes.
were? How'd you get unsubscribed? You were subscribed to this channel and my other one. But now that you are...
Yes, please like, share, and subscribe to this stream.
He was. Cause he was. I've got him as I had him as a moderator on this channel. He was the only moderator I had on this channel for a very long time. No, it's not a joke. There's actually videos of this happening.
I seen
My
one.
question is, who gave them, who supplied them the gun to do it? Because a couple of those guys you guys see, that's like it looks like they never handled a firearm in their life. But hey, propaganda works all ways.
I seen somebody destroying on one of the videos a not just an ordinary gun, but this was a very large bore, about as large as they get. They set out with an acetylene torch, and they chopped up a Macmillan and a Barrett into 18-inch pieces. What does that prove? That they...
You know what that proves to me, especially if you're doing a Barrett, that you're crazy, because $10,000, that's a $10,000 stock. Nothing added to it. 10K weapon. Let's talk about mental health issues.
Actually, you're betting low on that.
I've seen one I know a couple places where I can get one for 10K.
That's obviously extremely stripped down.
Oh, it's stock.
Because everyone I've seen have been 15 and up. And that's without any kind of optics. So it's just insane. And they're doing the same thing with many shotguns and other things too. And I was just like,
well, it's like that article I read to you earlier. I mean, I'll hint about it because I haven't went to government.org to actually see if somebody actually passed that legislation. You know, that's the other thing, guys. It's all about doing research. But hypothetically, let's say they did. Let's say that they passed, they got 150 signatures today to ban all weapons that have magazines, magazine fed, shotguns that exceed 10 or more shells, or any item that would allow you to extend the shotgun to have 10 or more shells, which are extenders. Any rifle that has 10 or more shells. And in fact, they were just saying the way it was worded in the article is any rifle, or, because let's keep it real, nobody can buy an assault rifle unless you have a federal dealer's license. Why? What is an assault rifle? It is a fully automatic, or it has the switch to go to fully automatic or burst round shooting. That is what a assault rifle is. AR is not an assault rifle. It is a rifle.
It is an intermediate rifle that has been around since 1951.
In fact, I can buy an M14 now that is not military issue, because Beulah in Cleveland is now making the receivers and the barrels and the trigger device for American Arms for their new replica M14 that looks identical to the military issued one.
And here's a rifle. And here's another little interesting fact. What most people are fully misguided about. Okay, so they pulled the bump stock. That's really the only ones that is actually hurting is people like myself who are confined to a wheelchair.
Exactly, because for those people who don't know, there's another Dabu video. He actually broke it down. Can you grab that link?
Yeah, I can.
The bump stock was created for people and designed for people with disabilities. That's what the patent was originally gotten for.
He may have pulled that video down. Oh, never mind. He had put out 2, but I do have one of them that he did not take down, for sure. And please, folks, keep in mind, we are not strictly saying, please check out Dabu77. He has been all over this story, left and right, and has been very vigilant on this story from Jump Street, and has not relented on this at all. Please do not misconstrue our messages about this.
Well, by now, everybody that's in the chat room right now knows my stance on these things. I don't, because I've been questioned. I know we are free. You've questioned me a bunch of times on this, why I follow certain people. And the fact is, I follow a bunch of people. Because every now and then, like this, I never knew about the bump stock until he did that video, why it was originally created.
All right.
There's truths out there in every genre, every niche on YouTube. That's why I love YouTube. YouTube is a beautiful platform when it's not being abused the way it's been here of late.
There is
you
both.
can learn anything and everything on here. It's up to you to decide. Oh, I know you don't. I respect that.
There is both videos that define both and explain it in detail as to exactly why the bump stocks were put in place, and why exactly they were invented for that reason. Now, I am, by definition, I am a disabled shooter. I am also a soon to be retired military veteran of 17 plus years. I've served my country, both in military and also in law enforcement for 17 years combined. And I'm getting ready to retire from dispatch duties. And so, and I have a very high level spinal and neck injuries, which these bump stocks, even though I do own an AR-15, I choose not to use it because I find the gun just not very effective for what I need it for. I use other things that are much better and much more accurate.
Yeah, give you an SKS, you use that over the AR-15 any day of the week.
I'll use that any minute of the week, but that's for a different show altogether. Bottom line is that the AR, I've done many tests with a video cam live streamed to the internet, and I've locked and loaded with my weapons in full auto and put the camera on them live to the internet with a bullet in the chamber. And either I have the most well-trained firearms in the world, or it tells me that guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Right.
And, when I see my weapons that are very well trained, and or the fact that they just simply don't go off by themselves, it really makes it very poignant. And I've done this little exercise multiple times in many different places, not just at home, but in a sealed, locked cargo container that was bulletproof, and under heavy military and law enforcement security set. Nobody could touch the container because there were live weapons in there, and I never had a problem with any of my weapons going off, ever. And then I presented this to the Department of Justice, the Department of Education, many gun manufacturers, and they're like, that shows a point that either A, your guns are extremely well behaved, or that guns don't just march into large venues and large places and start shooting up the place, or you've trained your weapons very well. I said, no, it's the fact that mankind has hunted and killed everything else on this planet since back in the days of the dinosaur. So now they've chosen the only thing left on Earth that they hadn't been able to kill. So now they're just hunting other people now.
They don't call us the apex predator for nothing.
Well, in all actuality, I'm going to correct you. The only apex predators left on this earth are the wolf, the bear, the eagle, the turkey vulture, but the most evil and the most misunderstood is probably the most diminutive creature on earth, the mouse and the amoeba. Plankton little tiny things that you don't even see are the things that will. Hey, Tacky, welcome to the show. The most, and here's the thing that's the real kicker that nobody ever wants to talk about. You can take every weapon, knives, sticks, rocks, guns, but the most deadly, dangerous weapon on the planet is the human mind. That's why they try to brainwash you so hard. And that's something that nobody else out there's got the backbone to say. But I will say it.
Oh, I mean, let's keep it all the way for real. Let's look at the UK.
Yep.
I know it's going to be, and you guys can look at these statistics on your own. There's more knife deaths than there is gun deaths here in the United States. More people killed each year in the UK with a knife than there is a gun than there are guns here in the United States.
Yep. Honduras and Switzerland are a perfect example. Both with 8.2 million people. Honduras is disarmed, yet they've got the highest murder rate in the world.
Yep.
Switzerland, they mandate their people to be armed, and they have the lowest. Draw your conclusion from that.
But that's the parts of history they don't want to teach in our schools anymore. They don't want to teach what the true horror story of World War II, the fact that when Hitler rose to power, that he took the guns away from the people. Or three.
I've always thought that if two's great, five's a party.
Yeah. You know, me, Rob will tell you, I can shoot, but I prefer up close and personal.
That's where your hand-to-hand combat, mixed martial arts, it is a beautiful thing.
But now that I've gotten older in age, yeah, that's for the birds.
What was that?
That's for the younger generation.
Can bars?
Yeah, ban cars now. They are the most dangerous. Actually, that's no joke. They are.
He's dead on the money.
More people die from texting and drinking and driving than there are gun deaths.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably. And here's the other thing, guys. I'm looking at my desk that's all cluttered. And on my desk, there is not a gun to be found. But let me tell you, on my desk, there's probably 50 different things that I could use as a weapon. And potentially hurt you.
D, you better up your game, brah.
Well, it's just because everything's so cluttered, I can only see what's in front of me.
My desk is probably more cluttered than yours. And I mean, even my lip gloss stick is a weapon.
One each for the kids, yep. And that's the other thing, guys. I mean, for those that are pro-gun, that take time, go over the safety of firearms with your kids, explain to them why we have them for protection, to go hunt, to be able to put food on the tables. And it's, because the fact is, unless your finger's in that trigger, it's not going off. Unless it's a defective gun, which those are very seldom do you hear that. And, that's like I was taught. If that gun's loaded and you point it, whatever you point at, you better be shooting.
Well, there's one other interesting...
Or else you don't point that gun.
There's one other interesting thing that I'd like to throw in here that I'm probably going to catch...
no.
A little bit of guff for, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. and this goes out to the other parents and whatnot. Parents, if you got toy guns for your kids, make them disappear. Get rid of them. I don't care how innocent they look. They have no place. Because Tamir Rice was a perfect
a BB gun.
I was in.
No, he didn't have a BB gun. He just had a plastic gun.
I was in.
Yeah, homeschool your kids.
I was in.
They're making that harder now too.
That city, across town when Tamir got shot. I've of all the cases that I've covered, and I've covered a bunch of them, I have to say that was probably more so than my best friend getting blown away in Baltimore. That was probably one of the most traumatic. So do yourselves, but more importantly, your children, a favor in the long run and get rid of them. Your kids may be a little upset with you at first, but in the long run, you might just be saving yourself from burying your children. And I've been talking to my area law enforcement that I've worked with for many years. I've been talking to parents left and right about this. It's one step. Today it might be an airsoft gun. Tomorrow it might just be the real McCoy.
No, you don't.
When coming from the field that I work in, a cop does not have but a half a heartbeat to make a decision.
Well, I mean, normally I would not agree with about that. I mean, I grew up with toy guns and shit like that, but we live in a different day and age now. And the fact is, what we've seen going on now, what I opened the conversation up with about all these kids being arrested or school shutting down, now is not the time for your kid. Well, in fact, there was a kid arrested for having a BB gun. He took a BB gun to school.
And guess what I saw yesterday afternoon on I just happened to turn the idiot box on, and they arrested a 19, almost a 20-year-old. He had a what appeared to be an MP4 knockoff that was a BB gun, and he was transporting it from one side of town to the other, and allegedly he had brandished it. It was wrapped in a Walmart bag of all things, and had it tucked down his pants so that it wouldn't arise any suspicion. And allegedly, of course, again, here we go with this anti-gun narrative, and trying to brainwash more people that all guns are bad, and whether it's a BB gun or otherwise. And they body slammed this poor guy 7 ways from Sunday. And of course, it was Cleveland. So, you know that this is where this episode from Cops was being filmed at. Was
no, I'll answer a question in chat.
So of course, you know that the race card was used. And they were not gentle at all, and it was not pretty.
Well,
But
I mean, right now, no cop's going to be gentle when they see something like anything that resembles that right now, because why? They are jumpy. Anytime incidents like this happen, cops get more jumpy. Why? Because they don't know if that's the real thing. They don't know. And that's the problem with so much media coverage on this crap. It puts them on the defensive. I mean,
I'm
I'm not saying, because you know, everybody here should know my stance here on that. There's good apples and bad apples.
I'm going to be sending you something that in a private link that I want you to watch on in your when you get a spare moment. Obviously, you know my schedule. I should probably not
Yeah.
even be awake at this time, but my pager went off and I didn't have I'm gonna set. Oh shoot, you got the. I'll have to pull up a separate window and send it to the other address to you. Because oh shoot, you emptied that hangout, didn't you?
The one on my Hangout that I sent you the link for this to should
Yeah.
be open.
No, the other hangout that we usually use.
Yeah, it's open. You can send it there. I'll get it.
Okay. Because I don't want this link getting out too far.
We are free. I'm gonna address that here in a second. And Rob knows where I'm going with this too. Anybody that's served in the military, anybody that's has studied what's the word I'm looking for? Strategies and stuff. Why hasn't any other country ever tried to invade this country? Why has what have top military strategists around the world have said? Why they don't do it? Because every person in the U.S. is practically armed. They would lose more people trying to invade our soil because we are armed. That's what prevents other nations from invading our country. So they do it other ways.
Yep.
I mean, this is something that me and Bree here was gonna. We're like I said, we've been talking about doing a couple live shows, and one of those shows is going to be dealing with the UN, Chicago, Missouri, the Mississippi River, New Orleans, California.
Did you happen to catch that about Rhode Island's new
Yeah, I caught that one.
yeah, that'll be something that we'll be talking about probably Thursday night. Where I'd like to start a weekly if possible, and kind of bounce it back and forth between your channel and mine. A weekly if possible, a weekly roundtable on some hot topics that arise throughout the week. Of course, my health depending, because I have a lot of things that are coming up in my future, and it's really going to depend. And I don't have a laptop at the moment that are, yeah, I actually have researched that a bunch.
This is exactly what they fear. What happened there at Kings Mountain?
The very same thing that happened with essentially uh, when the 7th Cav tried to assault my people with Custer. You know, it's a it goes back to that same old saying: a nation that tries to erase its history is deemed to repeat its history. Very simple.
Right, because that the Battle of Kings Mountain is no longer taught in the history books because it's considered to be a blemish. That's what Common Core is all about. Removing any blemish, anything that is a blemish on what America is considered today.
Yeah, we don't even want to get going down into that rabbit hole because we'll be here for 5 hours.
Actually, it's a good rabbit. It's not even a rabbit hole because that goes back to what I was saying. It's time that we got to find time to be talking to our kids, finding out what they're learning in school, in history, discussing these issues when they come about. It starts in the home. Then it goes into the community, starting with our neighbors. Because right now, we've seen what happened in Kentucky today. The community stood up, went to the school board, and got legislation and got it to where they passed legislation today to allow the teachers, if they so choose, to carry and conceal and arm themselves in the school. Here's a simple fact. There's always going to be crime. But you don't see crime happening in targets where it's where people carry guns concealed, or they have signs, guns allowed. You don't see crime happening there. They're not soft targets.
Yeah, the only problem that I see with that is
yeah, my dad brings a good point up on that one too.
it got I watched that actually 5 or 6 times, and then I reached out to a few people out there in that region, and the very first question, and I actually reached out to some elected officials out there, and they said that very simply, if they do that, that district very well will lose
Their funding.
they will lose their state funding for sure, and possibly all of their federal funding. If they do proceed to go down that rabbit hole until it becomes ratified in the state. Now, Texas has that on their bucket list, and that goes up for vote this coming month. And once one state does it, you can bet that it'll be a watershed moment and it will spread.
Right. But that's the other thing. Why we're always talking about communities. That's the importance of being active in your community, talking about these things, and coming together. Putting all differences aside, putting all political, I'm Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm whatever. That's a label. Quit dividing yourself. Come together on common grounds and common goals, like we need to protect our kids. What can we do? Start having these intellectual conversations. I mean, like my dad pointed out, I mean, I'm all for having teachers armed in school. But like my dad pointed out, how long before one of those teachers have a bad day or has a mental breakdown? It's a possibility. You can't overlook that. I mean, we've heard the whole people go postal all the time. That's what we're dealing with. Those things, different view, different perspective. I can't say he's wrong because he brings up a very good point. And that's the things we got to find common ground and discuss. The fact is, it starts in the home. And I just got disconnected from just got signed out of YouTube. All right, I'm still live though. So, I mean, that's the thing, even in the YouTube community here, Facebook community, Twitter community, when you're not being purged, we have to find these common grounds. We got to quit letting people divide us, and we got to stop letting them use the kids against us. Because the fact is, if we would do what they're doing right now, we'd be in jail for exploiting our kids. That's why you have a tier 1 response team 90 seconds out. Yeah. Because, I mean, we can play the blame game all day, all we want. The fact is, there's plenty of blame to go around. But I will never blame the parents. I'm not going to blame those kids. I mean, if anything, I'll put blame in other areas like media, glamorizing. It's all in your face. It shouldn't be. What'd you comment? My stance is known. I mean, my stance has been known. My opinions are quite known. Yeah. That's the other part of history nobody wants to talk about. How our certain alphabet agencies were formed. Where do we get the ideas from them from? All you got to do is read the chat. All right, I got you. There's so many issues out there. But every time something important comes up to where we can rally with each other, we get distracted. We get divided. They use politics against us. Now they're using the worst weapon they could ever use against us, our very own children. Because nobody wants to see their kids suffer. Well, I tell you what I don't want to see. I don't want to see the kids being brainwashed. I want the kids to know how all the branches of our government work, why we had the Boston Tea Party, why we had the Battle of Kings Mountain. Every aspect of our history is important so we don't repeat it. Teaching the kids to think for themselves, teaching them how to research so they can find the facts for themselves, so they can have their own opinion based on what they see and feel, not because the media told you so, not because all your Twitter followers or your Facebook followers says this is the status quo. No. The status quo is what exactly is what's wrong with things today. The status quo that both parents need to be working so they can't be monitoring their children. That needs to change. If your school districts around you teach Common Core, make a sacrifice and homeschool your kids. So they are getting taught. Or take the time, if you can't do that, take the time to see what they're learning and correct them with the real history, the real truths. Now, it's time to stop letting these things happen. I mean, we're talking about the future generations that are going to be our leaders in this country. I mean, yeah, and people have brought it up. Who's making the most money out of this? Well, it's not hard to think about. Obama was the NRA's number one seller. Every gun manufacturer made a killing during Obama. Every time there's a crisis or an event, and they use that against us. They do. They do use that against us because then they formulate an attack on those grounds. That's why I don't support the NRA, because it's a corporation. It's not we the people. We're the ones that have to take a stand. We're the ones that will not give an inch. You can't give an inch on any of our constitutional rights. The problem is and I hate to say this, some forms of history is repeating itself. If you're a free thinker, you're a heretic. But instead of burning you at the stake, now they just, oh, you're deleted. You got a strike. You're banned. I don't think don't understand why some people don't like guns. It goes back to what I say. And Rob will tell you this in chat. You use what you're good at. I'm not the greatest shot, but I'm lethal with a knife. But what have I been doing lately to change that around to where I'm just as good with either or? I'm taking the time and out and getting the range time. So I'm just as effective with this. For me, I hate ARs because I'm not a good shot with them. You give me an SKS, I'll have a field day. I prefer it. I don't know why. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their quirks and stuff, just like me. This $56 knife over here, I prefer the $7 knife over here. Why? It's better in my hand. It's just like the issue with the bump stock, which I'm willing to bet the NRA is going to give an inch on. Well, here's the problem. You go after the bump stock. They use that as an excuse. Where does it stop? Oh, you can't have that trigger on that gun no more because it allows you to shoot faster. Oh, your name's Mikolak. You shoot too fast. You can't own a gun. Or let's talk about mental health. Oh, you're a veteran. You just got out of the military, retired from the military. Now you're a vet. Oh no, you got post-traumatic stress syndrome. You can't own a gun. Oh, you need Viagra. That's a mental health issue. You can't own a gun. That's how crazy and stupid they can get with these things. That's why you can't give an inch. I mean, I do agree. There's some people that have certain mental disabilities, legit mental disabilities, should not own a firearm. But that's common sense. Take a class. Exactly. Learn. Spend time with it. Don't let it set and gather dust. It's doing you no good. Yeah, don't get me started on that one. All I gotta say is he gives an inch on any of this, he won't get reelected in 2020.
He's not going to get reelected anyway.
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean,
there's so much. You know, as I tell everybody, on every form, even casual conversation on the street corner, knowledge is power. Power is knowledge, and the more education you have, the more informed you will be, irregardless of what the topic is, whether it's what causes a headache, or how you can better yourself in disaster preparation, survival, and I'll be doing a video on, I don't know if anybody here in chat or those that may catch this on a replay, if you have mobility issues, I will be doing a video probably this weekend on disability prepping, how you can still, even if you have mobility issues, how you can still better yourself, and be ready in a lights out situation, lights out, grid down, whether it's, if you use part-time a chair, a manual chair, power chair, crutches, part-time, whatever that situation is. I'm going to be covering that in a video. I'm going to have the aid of my stepson helping me with it, to be able to do that. If I can corner him for an hour or so, I'm going to be going into these very things to help people. Yeah, it's going to kind of expose me a little bit, but I'm doing it for you all, to kind of help you guys out. And in the end, you never know. The things that I'm dealing with, someday, I pray to God it doesn't happen to you, but just in case. So that's something to look forward to. And that's something that nobody ever thinks about, that, you know, you might have to take care of a loved one that might be in a similar situation that I'm in. So it's food for thought for you guys too. You know, it's all things that nobody thinks about until, oh my God, what do we do? You know, it's that power is in the knowledge, and getting that message out there to people, and nobody thinks about it.
No, and that's actually something that I've not seen anybody really do videos on.
It's too bad that you don't live closer, dang it. Otherwise, you'd be my camera guy. Why you got to live out in the middle of nowhere?
I like the middle of nowhere.
Me too, but I'm kind of stuck at the moment.
In the middle of nowhere, if I just want to go out, well, I can't go out back right now. It's still a lake. But when it's dry, if I want to shoot guns, target practice, nobody's going to say a word.
And if you had to, and your septic system was backed up, if you had to go out back and relieve yourself, Who's going to see and who's going to know?
You know, if I want to sit out there, have a huge party, nobody's going to say nothing. Not even the neighbors, because they'll be invited over too. And we'd have
Oh,
a field day. You
oh,
know, that's other things.
oh,
That's
so that means that when I get out there in a few months, I can expect a nice full cooler of uh, a of cold beverages and uh, some of Ohio's best.
I don't know what you're going to find here in Ohio that's really good, but
Oh, so in other words, I got to bring my own.
yeah.
Oh joy! I was hoping I'd find some good stuff out there.
Not, and that's something I think a lot of people, most people, you know, that's the stuff I don't show on this channel or won't show because there's just some things people don't need to know about. They don't need to know what I have and don't have. And I think that's where some people go too far. They put too much out there. You know,
I want to live stream that particular place that you showed me the other night. I'd love to live stream that.
yeah, that won't be on this channel.
No. No, that we'll do that on the backup.
You know, but you know that also brings up something that bothers me, and it goes back to how we let everybody divide us and how we're always judging people, which I try never to do on here because there's information everywhere. There's truth everywhere. Yeah, we might not like everything this person's saying, but it brings up new ideas. It makes you think. It makes you question. You know? You know? And that's important because when you start questioning, throwing ideas, that's why when I get people in the chat, I show the chat. And occasionally I'll show my face. Those are usually videos when I'm out doing do-it-yourself videos. You'll get to see my face. I'm not some bot behind the screen, but I enjoy showing the chat, interacting with the chat, because I learn just as much from you guys as I hope you learn from me. We're bouncing ideas off each other. We might not agree on everything, but we're learning. We're questioning the things that we do think we know. And you can start taking that into your everyday lives, applying these very same principles when you're talking to your kids or talking to people in the community. You know, when I get out, which I don't go out much, but when I do go out, you know, I'll carry a conversation on with the random stranger in Walmart, you know, just shoot the breeze. And, you know, Rob can tell you this, out of our whole group, I'm the quiet one of the bunch. I'm the one you don't hear. I'm not, and I'm also not that social. Only when I want to be. Yeah, I didn't earn the nickname Smiley for nothing. I'm the guy smiling back at you. Probably don't even see. But I also try to bring my experiences, things I've learned over the years, things my grandfather taught me, importance of talking to people. You know, just like, you know, Bree will tell you that, you know, yeah, I'm a little bit more, I censor a little bit more on my channel than I normally would. But I do things for a reason because I believe there's a time and place. You know, just like there might be a time where you're going to get another video much like Truth, You Can't Handle the Truth. There might be a time where I think it needs to be in your face using whatever colorful word I think is going to trigger you to get you to listen. There's a time and place. Right now, For me, it's just time to be serious, engaged conversation. Get your opinions, your views, because they do matter. I watched that when President Trump brought all those people into the White House. There was this guy who was like 23 minutes into the whole thing. He brought up a very good point. We don't need the government. The government needs to do their thing. We need to do our things. We need to engage, have conversation. Doesn't matter how left centered it may be or how radical the idea needs to be. We need to hear it. We all need to come together and listen, talk, find a solution. That's what it's about. Because when we
Amen.
start doing that, we start coming together. We start slowly healing that division that they've been pushing on us for so long. They don't want that. The more we're divided, the more they can pull the crap. Oh, we want to take your guns, or we want to make you vaccinate you, take these vaccinations, or lose your job, and all the other crazy stuff that's going on. And there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. I watch it every day. I listen. I watch. I observe. Sometimes I keep it to myself. Sometimes I bring it right out there. Sometimes I sit back and talk with other people, get their opinions, their feedback. I like Bree's idea about doing a round table, bringing other people in, letting them give their opinions and views. That's something I've always been good at, being able to sit down with a diversity of people. When I say diversity, I don't mean that as they say it. I mean different ideas, different philosophies, different ways of doing things, and be able to sit down, hear them out, talk, have good conversations to where there is no division. We're just conversating, sharing these ideas, why we think this way, leaving it up for afterwards for us to sit back and think about what was said. Why don't I agree? Or does he have a point? We need to start thinking for ourselves instead of letting people do that for us or letting media, social media tell us what to do. And that's why I wish Rob actually had a decent internet connection, because he would flat out tell you how it is. The importance of community, because an importance of talking within the community. It's important, just like it is important to be interactive in our kids' lives. You know, change doesn't start with government. It starts in the home, then the community. Because the change we want isn't the change that our politicians want or the corporations want. They don't want us thinking for ourselves at all. They don't want us to have rights. They want us working our butts off every day so we're not having time with our kids, having time with our family, having time to talk to people in the community. Sadly, it takes events like this to wake people up. Sometimes it takes worse events than this to bring everybody together. Let's not wait until there's a worse event.
Well, even to go farther than that, it's about control. And one of the interesting things about control is an illusion. Um, they cannot ever build a facility that can control our minds, our hearts, and our souls. The the prisons that we build around our hearts, our minds, and our souls are 10,000 times more confining than any man made structure could ever be. And as long as we keep that in the forefront of our mind, we will always, always be free thinkers and, in essence, be free-spirited people, that they can never, ever even begin to fathom that thought of being able to control or even contain us, because we are thinking so far ahead of them, and it always puts them on the defensive and rather than the offensive. And that's in and of itself will always be the upper hand. Always. And it brings it back to that, who sits on the apex? We do. Because we are the free thinkers. Always.
Yeah, wait till that 5G hits. Uh-huh. Yeah. How
Out.
about that one? That's
Well,
a topic
well,
for another discussion.
well. I'm in an area. 5G is 5 years out or more. And where you live, you might be lucky to see 5G. What, 2030 maybe? 2050 agenda, maybe.
Well, see, that's the other drawback to following labels. When you start following labels, like labels that are more sigil related, you miss something. And a lot of people really missed it, that actually 5G is not that far off for everybody. They're trying to pass that in national security issues. They've got a bill that they're working on right now. And it's not even a bill. Trump's and his team's writing it up to push 5G by the end of by 2020 on everybody, funding it and everything, because it could be a national security issue. That's how they're going after trying to get 5G in now. But you know, sometimes when you get all this stuff going on, you have to pay attention to other things, because sometimes the stuff gets so caught up, it gets distracting, and they distract you from what's actually going on behind the scenes. You know, in the end, guys, we all have to make decisions and choices. We're all accountable for those decisions and choices. That's what makes us human. What also makes us human is the fact that we're going to sometimes do something bad, because we do. We make a bad choice from time to time. Let's not judge a person by a bad mistake. We all make it.
Yeah.
You know, and that is the real problem. That's how they've helped. That's how they've further divided the many communities here on YouTube. Is they found ways to pit people against each other, whether it be people's beliefs, their religious preferences, their sexuality, and things like that. And they cause the rift and division. Or it comes to groups that come up, because there for a while, I kind of supported the alt-right until I started watching the people they were letting come in. The people that did not believe in what the original movement of the alt-right stood for. They weren't doing their research. They just let people come in without going through. People that, the very ideology of the alt-right, they would have opposed it if they would have done just a little bit of research in it. What happened? They caused a division in the alt-right. Now it's what, half a dozen forms of alt-right now? Every movement that comes up, just like something we talked about earlier, LGBT. I know, not a favorite subject for a bunch of people. Now it's what is it now? LGBTQ something something.
Yep.
They divided that group. They divided the feminist group and the women's march by letting people in that didn't hold the ideologies of those movements, and it forever changed those movements to mean something that it shouldn't mean. We have to be aware of those things. They've done so many things right in front of your eyes to cause division in all these groups out there. It was intentionally done. How they keep doing that? They keep doing it by taking you away from your kids, making you work two jobs or both parents working, so you're not paying attention to what these generations that have been coming up have been being taught and learning. They have control of your kids. They have control of your kids' minds. But don't let that underestimate you. There are kids out there that are very awake, knows what's going on. I know I've got a couple that follow this channel. That just proves you can reach anyone. It's one person at a time. That person will start talking to the people they know. They'll reach a person. And you start creating a ripple. Before you know it, you're creating waves. But you can't do that when we're always arguing and bickering about issues. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's to blame? You know what? I don't care who's to blame. I don't want to see it happen again. How can we prevent it from happening again? It starts in the home.
Yep.
It starts talking amongst ourselves. Talk in our immediate circles, be it family, friends, having these conversations. Let's have a picnic today. Or let's go meet somewhere on Saturday. Let's go fishing. Something. Find ways to interact. That's where change begins. Then it moves to the community. That's when you start working on the grassroots. You just can't jump to the grassroots or the community if you're not making the changes in your home. If you're not, in fact, it starts with the self, you as a person. You own to make changes for yourself before you can hope to change anything else. So if you're not willing to make a change to start telling people we're going to be eating at the dinner table tonight, or we're going to set this night aside for family time, no TV, no electronics, and to discuss these things, then change can't happen. It's on each and every one that watches this video to want to make that change. Don't go big. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's got to start with yourself, then your family, immediate friends, neighbors, then the community. It means finding time to go to parent-teacher conference or sit in on school board meetings to find out what's going on in your schools. They're only in charge if we let them in charge. They're not 18, as I was always taught. Till you're 18, my house, my rules. I remember that quite fondly because I've heard it a lot. You know what? I actually now respect that. Might not have back then, being the rebel that I was, but now I understand and respect that. It comes with experience, living and experiencing life. Come to realize all those little things that you hated, wow, they were right. No, I know they don't. But all you got to do is tell them, no, that's not right. They listen. And it also helps, you found a great school to put your kids. Not everybody has that choice or that option. It helps, it also helps not everybody can have one parent that don't work. I understand that. It's like I said, we got to understand there's many sides of the fence on these issues. We're going to have people that don't want guns, don't like them. Okay, what's your opinion? What do you think we need to see? And sorry, banning guns isn't the answer because it's not going to make a bit of difference. In fact, there's somebody I can't remember whose channel it was, did a statistic about when they had the assault ban the last time. You want to know what? Nothing changed. The statistics never changed. There wasn't no spike or no decrease. It stayed the same to what it is even to today. Yeah, you got an awesome school. If I ever have kids, I know where they're going. But I also know you as Rob, as the parent, since I know you and lived with you guys for a little bit, I know that you're very active in the school. I know before you even put those kids in that school, you were asking questions. You was asking, well, what do you teach when it comes to history? What do you teach? What is he asked those questions before you put those kids in the school. Do you make the kids be vaccinated? He asked all those questions. You know what? Turned out to be the perfect school. School that holds values, teaches kids values.
And that's important.
It helps, also being able to step outside the box. I learned a lot from Rob. If I ever had kids, I learned how to be a better parent, a better man, to be exactly. The things that I wouldn't have ever thought about doing because my parents wasn't that active when it came to the school system. They, sports and stuff, yeah, they were all for that, back to support you. But as far as paying attention to what was going on, no. I learned stuff from him. I learned stuff from everyone. And that helps you become a better person when it's your turn to experience those things. Because there's no instruction manual how to raise a kid.
No, there isn't.
There's no... Yeah, I see it. I've got friends, it's like that. But they also be the first ones to admit, well, what can I do? I can't spank them. If I spank them, they'll put me in jail for child abuse. I get it. That's the thing. I do get it. I've seen this. I've watched it happen. Where do we draw the line? Where do we start telling our state legislators we're taking back control of our kids? They're our kids, not yours. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff where we can, as a community, start taking stances on. And we have to. I'm tired of turning on fucking Twitter, Facebook, turning the damn radio on and hearing, oh, school's been closed because somebody made a threat or another kid's been arrested because some kid said he made a threat. You need to explain that to your kids. You can't be doing that right now. Wrong time, wrong place. It'll get you in trouble. And how many of those kids were just doing it as a practical joke to get out of school. You know, kids will be kids, as the old saying goes. You know, but unfortunately, we don't live in a day and age where jokes like that are funny anymore. They come with very serious consequences now because of what just happened. You know, sometimes you don't see what things are going really are in the world until you get out and visit other places. And I know it's hard to do these days. Yeah, that helps too.
Oh, I yearn for that. Man, do I miss that.
You know, truthfully, we can make change. We have it all at our fingertips. You know, yeah, as much as I hate seeing some things go on, the censorship, but we do have a tool here. And we can reach people. And I tell you what, eventually, yeah, I know one day I'll catch that infinite strike. But you know what? I'll just do what my forefathers did. You know, people need to start learning how to read again. Oh, wait, you don't have to, because most devices now will read the book for you. I'm not beyond of bringing another magazine back up and publishing it. Like I said, you find a way to think you silence me, I'll find another way to unsilence me.
I got your back.
I've got more than one access to many different things, and they're all tools. You know, just like the last video me and you did. I showed you. YouTube says I only have 18 views. You've seen what it's got over on the mines.
Yeah.
1,500 views.
And
My message is still getting out there.
And I just posted it on mine with a little boost on it.
But we do need more serious conversations.
Oh, we're going to have them. We're going to have them.
More of this type. Not about, did it really happen? Did it? Who are we going to blame? That's not addressing the issues. I mean, yeah, there's some issues there. But that's not addressing the real issues. How do we get the change that we're looking for? That's the issue. We don't want to compound it by falling victims to, oh, that didn't really happen. Oh, it did happen. This person's to blame. This person's to blame. Well, when you start playing the blame game, you're not addressing the situations that we have control over. Let them do their thing. We need to have more talks like this, just not here on YouTube, in our homes, in our communities.
With our elected officials.
Right. Not 4 states over. That's their job. Your job's in the community you live in. It starts there. Then as you start building that up, then you can start venturing out and reaching others. You can use these platforms to bring those messages. That's why I've always said this channel will be open for anybody that wants to come on it. Yeah, that's not fair. Now you're teasing.
Yeah, you definitely are. Yeah, you definitely are. Considering I come from the heart of the Badlands, you're teasing. That's just mean.
I miss the mountain living. and the community out there. Never thought I'd say that because I'm honestly more of a solo type person, you know. But that's what, as you grow older and learn and experience things in life, you learn those things. You know, so that's why I said you can't be blaming even the young generations because they haven't lived life yet. They're still experiencing things. But at some point, we do got to gain control, and it starts back in the homes, having open discussions. Don't, so what? They disagree, they disagree. One day, trust me, I've been there, done that. One day, they're going to say, damn, he was right or she was right. All you're doing is planting the seed. Eventually, they'll see it for themselves. They'll experience something, and they'll remember that conversation you had. Just like somebody on here is going to watch this video 5 years, well, maybe if I'm lucky, 5 years from now, or that had watched it today, and they didn't agree with something I said. Later down the road, maybe 5 years from now, something's gonna happen in their life, so they're gonna remember what they heard here. It's gonna awaken. Sometimes just planting the seeds is all we can do. You know, and you gotta accept that. You know, can't beat you with the book. Because until you experience it, or until you, and here's the important part, until you are ready to see that, you're not going to see that. Just like change, until you're actually ready to change, you can say I'm going to change all you want. Until you are fully ready to change, you're not going to change. Yeah, because there's still bears up in those mountains. But you got anything else you want to say?
No, not that I can think of. I'm just sitting here kind of um, thinking about the coming weekend and what is how I want to lay that out and yeah, thinking of how things were back when I was in high school and uh, how virtually every truck or car had, especially pickup, had a shotgun rack or a rifle rack hanging in the back window, and every car had at least 2 or 3 weapons in the trunk or in the back seat or whatever, and we never had any problems back then. I mean, and it was a big deal if you got caught, uh, or you forgot that you had your knife on you from hunting before school, um, or or if God forbid maybe you forgot that you had a, a a rifle slug or a rifle shell or a deer slug or something in your vest pocket. You know how much deal they made, or God forbid you got caught with a pack of cigarettes or something like that. Um, and occasionally a little bit of alcohol. And now today it's like um, you get caught with um pack of cigarettes, you get a slap on the wrist and a citation, maybe a 3-day in school suspension, um, and then at the very least, you get the 3-day in school suspension, and your parents get an email or a text, and usually a letter sent to their home address, um, about it, or the school resource officer calls them and lets them know what's going on. But if you're caught with a knife or ammunition, I mean, it's like everything automatically goes on lockdown, and it's just blown completely out of proportion. And the media, it is the biggest problem. Uh, the mainstream media has caused this problem to become what it is with all these copycats. You didn't even I remember very, very vividly when Columbine happened. May those souls rest in peace. Um, you know, the media did not help that situation, but we look at all the events that have happened since then, and all these every time there's a gang shoot up and stuff like that, the media and Hollywood is glamorizing every bit of this stuff. And if the media would not shine a light and give it any attention, all these copycat situations would go away. Thank you, Pam. If they would not give it any attention, these copycats would go away, and you wouldn't hear about it. The social media thing has not helped this problem either. It's made it worse. Sometimes I think the more technologically advanced we got, the worse it has made us in many aspects. Has it made my life personally a lot easier? Yes, it has. But to some extent, it has also made it a lot more complicated too. So, along with technology, we tend to abuse it, and people need to realize, and I just lost my ears for some reason. And people need to just realize that the more we abuse technology, the worse things are going to get. The more we share all these things, the worse things are going to get. Bottom line, cut and dried, that's just how it is. Did I lose you, D?
No, I'm here. I heard something chime in the background. I wanted to check my phone.
Oh, okay. Because my ears went dead silent, and I'm on wireless headphones, and after like 90 seconds, my earphones go dead. So I was like, did I kill a brand spanking new set of batteries already? Because it's like my last set, and my mic takes 6 batteries, and my headset takes 2 batteries. So there you go. But it's important that we have these real serious conversations that nobody wants to face. But it's sad that we live in this reality. But the bottom line is that we've allowed these things to get out of control. Personally, I want to thank everybody that has showed up tonight. Dee, I want to thank you for bringing me in, allowing me to jump in at on a moment's notice. For everybody that hit the thumbs up, thank you for giving it 100% viewership. I don't ever get to see it on my channel, so it's beautiful when I see it. You know, I don't know if you see it all the time, but
Actually, tonight it's probably the most I've seen people come in and watch. So it's been a while that I've seen this much, which I'm thankful for. Because, like I said, tonight was it was time to be a little bit more serious about some of the issues that's going on. It's not most people know, not my typical thing. Because I do talk about everything, but we needed a serious conversation, and we need more of it. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to do the videos I do because those are just important. It makes you think, question things.
Well, if we don't, I feel as though as webcasters, if we don't make you think, then we are not doing our jobs. And if we don't leave you guys with something to think on, then we are being derelict in our duties to make you think, and leave you with something at the end of the night to think on and ponder on in the long term. And fortunately, we're all of like-minded people, but it gives you something to take to your social media and ponder on, and please post to all of your social media sites. I'm very easy to find. It's FSPN Free Spirit on Twitter. You can my Facebook is I don't usually give that out, but you can find me. Eventually, I will be reposting and bringing my Facebook page back up so that it is visible once again. But the easiest place to find me is on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. FSPN Free Spirit on Twitter. I'm also on minds.com, Free Spirit Press News. Very easy to find. If you're not on Minds, I'm very active there. You can also find me on Free Spirit Press News on YouTube. I'm pretty much everywhere. LinkedIn. I'm also on Google Plus. You can also find me there. I'm always posting stuff there, pretty much daily. And that's pretty much about all I got. And also, please like, share, and subscribe. Get this video out so everybody can see it, and please share the homepage for this channel, especially, and let's try and get this message out, and let's bring this channel up.
With that said, I will give a disclaimer. I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Well, neither am I, but hey, we gotta try and get this out to as many as those that can handle the truth, because it's real talk for real people. And real meets real. Just saying.
But yeah, like I said, I'm definitely going to be working on trying to do some more of these videos, more community-related videos as well. My Friday night, I might try, if Rob's able to, I'm going to try to go live with him on here. So that way I get to know some of the people from different communities and their thoughts on things, just not mine. It's, I think this year it's about hearing other people, just not my voice all the time. So I think it's going to be kind of a goal for this year, because me and Rob's talked about some other things that we want to do. Getting people in other communities, sharing their knowledge, information, their experience, what they see with people. It's important, because when you start hearing these things, it starts showing you that we're all the same. We just might have different ways of going about it. We were brought up a little bit differently, but we all want the same thing. I mean, truthfully, we all want to make America great again. It's just we want it done right. We want values. We want our Constitution protected, our Bill of Rights protected. We want our freedoms acknowledged.
Well, Friday is going to be kind of a rough day for me. So I cannot guarantee that I will be around. I have a public meeting at the school on Friday, and I've got a multitude of personal things that I have to attend to this week. That is going to keep me on the road most of the week. But if I'm able to share the video and put it out across all my social platforms, I will do that at the very least for you. And certainly, Pam, if we've all got, I think we've all got hangouts, and that's where we would most likely do a roundtable. I also have Uber conference, and we can definitely use that as well.
Yep, I have that too.
And that gives it another option as well.
Well, the other option it allows me to do live call-ins.
Exactly. And I have not tried that with my OS yet, but I think it'll work just the same. I will have to let me Dee, you'll have to send since you're in contact with Rob, you can send him my H2 contact information. I'm not going to put that out in a video. You can send him and Pam as well if she's got H2.
Yeah, she does.
You can send her in a private my H2 contact info as well. I'm not going to put that out over open channels. And they'll be free to add me on those circles if they wish from there. But but you're certainly welcome to jump in at any time and sound off and go from there. But it's like 11:30, folks, and I have to be up before 1 o'clock in the morning, and I have a killer drive tomorrow.
Yeah, we've gone on well past the hour mark. And that's the other thing, guys. I do long videos. Nice thing about YouTube, you can just, when you get tired of listening, just, hit watch later and come back and pick up where you left off. You don't have to sit through it in one whole session. It's another beautiful thing about YouTube for people like me that have a big mouth and like to run it.
Well, yeah, that I'm known for being a big mouth as well, but when in doubt, just tell me to shut up. And I unfortunately my batteries decided to give out, and that's the first time in 7 years I actually have batteries give out in the middle of a show.
Of course, as people find out, once I get more people on talking, I'll be the quiet guy in the background you won't hear from anymore.
Well,
that's the truth, though. That's me. I like listening as well. So, but I'm definitely gonna wrap up this show before I ramble on any farther, because this ain't rambling of the chaotic mind. So,
all right.
I hope guys, think about stuff that's said. Start talking to your children. Start finding time to talk with family members, friends, neighbors. Start small. Start at the home.
Yep.
That's where we're going to start seeing change.
Be the change you seek.
There's an old saying. I'll catch you later, Rob.
All right.
Live by example. Be the example.
Exactly.
With that said, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. I will probably, now that I'm back, I'll be doing videos back to normal, now that I'm feeling almost 100%. You guys all have a good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the thumbs up. And just don't get caught up in everything, guys. Relax, observe, chill. Don't let these things stress you out.
Peace, love, light. We'll catch you guys on the next show. Y'all have a good one. From my house to your house, may y'all have a beautiful night. And I'm out on that one.
Yep. Night, everyone.